It was 3 in the morning. The whole house just shook. And I remember lying there thinking, please, not the roof. Anything but the roof.
And of course,
the roof.
Folks, that roof was worth more than most people's entire house. $443,000 to put it back the right way. Cedar shake, hand split, and so much copper it could have had its own zip code.
I climbed it 3 days later, stood up there at a 45-degree pitch, looked out over Nashville, and thought 2 things. 1, this is the most beautiful roof I've ever set foot on.
And 2,
somebody's about to try to lowball it into the ground.
And somebody did. On a roof that cost $443,000 to restore, the insurance company's first estimate came in at $308, with literally $0 of overhead and profit in it. And the first check they handed Dee was around $208,000.
$100,000 just gone. And nobody told me where it went.
We told her, this is that story. Welcome to the supplement.
so I want to set the scene. Because I'm the one who actually picked up the phone. It's late September. We'd had this nasty overnight system roll through West Nashville. And the phone is ringing. My line is the first voice anybody at Austermiller hears. And that morning, I had a cue.
I was one of those calls. And I'll be honest, I almost didn't call a roofer at all. I figured, I have great insurance. I have Chubb. This is what I pay them for. I'll just call my carrier.
Which is what most homeowners do. And it's the first fork in the road.
When Dee called, I could hear it in her voice, that mix of, I think something's wrong, and I'm hoping you'll tell me it's nothing. And my job on that call isn't to sell her anything. It's to get the facts and get somebody good out there. Date of loss, what she saw, what kind of roof.
And when I said cedar shake with copper, Shelby got quiet for a second.
I did, because I knew that was not a send the new guy roof. That was a get Brent and Gil out there together roof.
And that instinct right there is lesson number 1 of this whole series. The kind of roof you have determines the kind of fight you're in. A basic asphalt roof is a skirmish. A 90-square cedar and copper estate roof is a war. You don't bring a skirmish team to a war.
So I went out to meet Dee, and Gil came to climb.
I remember Brent standing in my driveway, just looking up at the house for a long time before he said anything.
Because I was already doing math in my head, and I was already worried, not about whether there was damage, about whether the insurance company would pay for the roof that's actually up there.
And see, this is the thing you gotta understand about Brent. The man just told you we might lose $100,000 in the exact same voice he'd use to order a turkey sandwich. No pulse. I've checked. I've held a mirror under his nose.
I have a pulse, Gil.
Allegedly.
Anyway.
All right, let me take you up there, because you can't understand this whole story without understanding what we were standing on.
Paint the picture. Pretend I've never seen a real roof.
9,000 square feet of roof. In our world, we say squares. 1 square is 100 square feet. This roof is 90.3 squares. For comparison, a normal house is 20 to 30. This is 3 houses worth of roof, folded into one by an architect who clearly hated roofers personally.
It is a complicated house.
It's gorgeous, Dee. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying it tried to kill me a little. And the material? This is the part people don't get. It's cedar shake, not shingle. A shingle sawn smooth and thin. A shake is split, hand split in this case. Thick, rugged, 3/4 inch up to 1 1/4 inches at the butt. 24-inch shakes, 7.5-inch exposure.
Translate exposure.
How much of each shake you actually see? 7.5 inches showing, the other 2/3 is buried under the next course, doing the real work. So you're paying for 3 layers of cedar everywhere. Triple coverage. That's why it lasts, and that's why it costs.
And then the copper, which is where I fell in love and Brent started sweating.
Accurate.
You could hear him doing the math up there. A little bead of sweat for every linear foot of copper. By the back valley, I was just narrating it. And there goes another $1,000 I turned right down Brent's forehead.
I run a calm operation.
You run a haunted operation, brother. You stand that still up on a ridge, birds try to land on you. Every valley, copper. The gutters, half-round copper, 6-inch. Downspouts, round copper, 6-inch. Step flashing, roof-to-wall flashing, transition flashing at 16 ounce. A cricket behind a chimney, at 20 ounce, copper chimney flashings, copper pipe jacks, and a whole standing seam copper section over the back.
What's 16 ounce mean?
Copper's measured by weight per square foot. A square foot of 16 ounce copper weighs 16 ounces. 20 ounces heavier, tougher. You put that where it takes abuse, like a cricket. And here's the thing, the carrier's own estimate actually got those weights right. 16 ounce transition, 20 ounce cricket. Somebody on their side knew copper.
Hold on to that, because the same estimate that gets the copper weight exactly right gets the copper money very, very wrong. That's the game, and we'll unpack it next episode.
I just remember thinking, I knew my roof was special. I didn't know it was a math problem.
Oh, and the pitch. D, I love you, but your roof is a cliff. 63 of those 90 squares are steeper than a 12 of 12. That's a 45-degree angle or worse.
Is that a lot?
You don't walk a 12-12. You hang off it, you rope up, and you make peace with God. I set a hammer down up there and watched it slide off the edge and just whispered, Godspeed. 63 squares of that, the majority of the roof.
And every bit of that, the steepness, the cut-up shape, the copper, every bit of it costs more, which is exactly the part insurance companies love to forget.
Now here's where the story turns from a roof into a fight. Because to win, you can't just say, my roof is special and expensive. The carrier eats that for breakfast. You need authority. You need the rule book. And there are 3 referees in this game.
Lay 'em out.
Referee 1, the Cedar Shake and Shingle Bureau. The CSSB, they write the grading rules and the installation manual for Cedar. Grades go premium, number 1, number 2, number 3. Premium being 100% edge grain, heartwood, and clear. The good stuff. And here's what matters. Those CSSB rules are written into the International Building Code and the Residential Code. So when I say a cedar roof has to be built a certain way,
He's not being fussy. He's quoting the document the inspector uses to fail you.
Referee 2, the Copper Rulebook. The Copper Development Association, the CDA, plus SMACNA, the Sheet Metal Standards plus Code. They set copper minimums. Quick example that'll matter later. A copper valley pan has to be 12 inches off the center line each side, 24 inches wide minimum and wider on long runs, an inch per side for every 8 feet over 12 feet of length.
And this roof has over 300 feet of valley.
Some of those runs are long, which means code-correct copper there is wider, which is more material, which is more money. And it's not me being greedy, it's the spec.
Referee 3, and this is the most powerful one. The manufacturer's installation instructions. 3 magic words. Per manufacturer specifications. And get this, the carrier's own estimate already quotes the panel manufacturer right there in the document. Underlayment requirements, synthetic for 312 and up, self-adhered high-temp membrane for vulnerable spots, 40 mil minimum, 240-degree rating.
Wait, the insurance company quoted the manufacturer to themselves?
They did our homework for us, D, and that's the whole philosophy of winning right there. You don't argue feelings, you argue documents, CSSB, CDA, SMACNA, code, and per manufacturer specifications. You stack those on the table, and the adjuster's, hey, I think that's optional, turns into a guy arguing with the building code.
And I hear you don't even read all 40 pages by hand anymore.
I've got AI doing the grunt work now. I feed it the carrier's estimate and the whole code library, and it flags every soft spot in seconds. Then I do the fun part by hand, telling the insurance company very politely with citations exactly how wrong they are. Best job in America.
And the building code's never lost an argument. It's already dead inside.
Like Gil before his second coffee.
Exactly like that.
So a few weeks go by. The adjuster comes out, Jeffrey Rhodes, from Chubb. Nice enough, man. And eventually the estimate shows up. And I open it, and the big number at the bottom says $308,252. And I thought, okay, that sounds like a lot of money. They must be taking care of it.
And then she called me.
Because the check wasn't for 308. The check was for about 208,000. And I didn't understand. The same piece of paper said one number, and the check said another. How do you write 308 and then pay 208?
This is the moment right here. This happens to thousands of homeowners, and almost none of them understand what they're looking at. So let me explain it the way I explained it to Dee at her kitchen table.
The kitchen table explanation. My favorite Gerard.
The 308,000 number is replacement cost value, RCV. What they say it costs to put the roof back. Then they subtract something called depreciation. They say your roof was used, it had some age on it, so it wasn't worth full price the day the storm hit. On this estimate, that subtraction was about $100,000. That's the gap between the estimate and the check.
100 grand for age.
But and this is the word that saves your life, it's recoverable depreciation. Recoverable, which means you get it back. The deal is, they pay you the depreciated amount now, the actual cash value, the 208. Then once the work is actually done and documented, you submit for the rest, and they release the 100 grand they were holding.
Nobody told me that. The letter didn't say, hey, there's $100,000 waiting for you.
They never do, Dee. That's the dark little secret of this whole industry. The money's sitting there with your name on it, and the only person who's going to go get it is you, or a contractor who knows the game and does the work right.
And how many people just cash the first check and walk away?
Buckets. They get the 208, they think the claim is over. Maybe they hire somebody cheap to slap on a lesser roof and pocket the difference. And they leave $100,000 at Chubb forever. There's no reminder. There's no you forgot your money call.
That was the moment I decided I wasn't walking away from anything.
And here's the part that turns the whole story. That 308,000 number, it isn't even right. It's the floor, not the ceiling. There's a waste factor on the Cedar that's too skinny for a roof this cut up. There's code-required material the carrier just left off. And there's an overhead and profit number that, professionally speaking, made me say a word I can't say on this episode.
What was the overhead and profit?
Zero.
Zero?
$0 on a $400,000 restoration that takes a Cedar crew, a copper crew, soldering specialists, scaffolding, and a general contractor to run all of it. The line for overhead and profit was zero. Nothing.
He said the word when he saw that. Up on the roof, echoed off the chimney. Birds left the county.
And there's a copper salvage credit we're going to have a very pointed conversation about, and a real code-correct restoration number north of $440,000 that I'm going to document down to the linear foot. That's a supplement, a six-figure supplement, and building it, that's next episode.
Let's land it. 3 things. If you're a homeowner staring at a claim right now.
1. Know your roof. The kind of roof you have decides the kind of fight you're in. 90 squares of hand-split cedar and architectural copper, most of it steeper than a 1212. That's not a repair, that's a restoration, and it has to be priced like one.
2. Authority beats opinion. Every time. CSSB, the Copper Development Association, SMACNA, the building code, and the 4 magic words, per manufacturer specifications. Don't argue what you feel. Argue what the document says. On this roof, the carrier even quoted the manufacturer to themselves. Use their own paper.
3, and I'll say this one, because I learned it the hard way. The first check is not the claim. Say it again, Gerard.
The first check is not the claim. There was about $100,000 of recoverable depreciation on Dee's roof, and more than $100,000 on top of that in supplement, that only comes home if the work gets done and you ask for it correctly. The carrier will not remind you. That's not their job. It's yours or ours.
That's episode 1. The storm, the roof, the team, and the check that started a war.
Next time, we sit down with the actual Chubb estimate and go line by line. Every Xactimate code. We find the money they tucked into the margins, and we start building the case.
It's part heist movie, part accounting class, and weirdly, the accounting is the violent part.
Bring a calculator and a helmet. And Brent, bring that one facial expression you own.
It's a good expression.
It's the only one. That's the whole point I'm making.
I'm not doing this with you on the air.
Wait! He almost smiled. Did everybody catch that? Episode 1, and we already got a flicker.
I'm Dee Jacobson, and that's my roof we're fighting for.
This was The Supplement from Austermiller, Inc. Don't cash that first check thinking it's the whole story. See you next episode.